everybody. Welcome back to the Dear Future Pioneers podcast. My name is Carissa Munoz, and I'm going to be your host. And today we're going to do the second part of the performing arts little series that we've got going on here. So last week we talked about theater arts and dance. And this week we're going to talk about band, orchestra, and then choir. So today I have Emma here with me to talk about the musical aspect of performing arts. Thank you for being with me.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So today we're going to ask you a couple questions regarding the band and just the experiences that you've had. So anybody that's looking to come into Sacred Heart and participate in that area, we would have some background knowledge on it. And you've got just the person for it. So you guys are really lucky. All right. So within our band and orchestra area of performing arts at Sacred Heart, there are a couple different areas that people can get involved in. So that's the band, and I know there's different sections of the band, and you can talk about that. We have the orchestra, color guard, and feature twirlers. So do you kind of want to give a little bit of a brief overview of those?
Yeah, sure. So like you said, there's band. There's three subcategories in the band. There's pep band, marching band, and concert band. And then in orchestra, you got your, strings, violins, all that. And then color guard and twirlers. Color guard, there's a winter guard that happens in the winter season where you travel and you perform. And then color guard is also a part of marching band along with the twirlers as well.
Okay, great. And you know what, Emma? I was so excited that I didn't even let you introduce yourself.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm so excited to hear all your knowledge, but you know what?
What can I say?
Guys, I was getting ahead of myself here. Emma, please introduce yourself to the lovely people before I keep asking you some questions here.
Hey guys, I'm Emma Felix. I'm a senior at Sacred Heart. I'm a double major, and I'm a member of the Sacred Heart University Band, and I'm also the secretary of the band council at SHU. So, yeah.
Perfect. See, guys, I was just so excited to ask her some questions that, just had to jump right into it. But as you can see, she's very qualified. Sweet. All right. So we've got all those different types of areas of band, and you named them all. But do you want to give more of what does marching band do? What does pep band do? What do they do?
No, yeah. Okay. So marching band, we perform at the football games. So you can see us, and we're standing in the stands, playing our tunes, school spirit. And then when it's halftime, we get to go onto the field and perform our little show. And it's very exciting. And then for pep band, we play at men's ice hockey and women and men's basketball. And so we're there the entire games cheering on. And then for concert band, it's more of a sit down, more professional vibe. And we have one concert each semester. So one for winter and one for spring. And then that goes the same for orchestra. One concert each semester.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know because whenever I do come onto the field for club sports, I know we always are after band, which I find so intriguing. I'm yes, I get a little sneak peek into the halftime show. But what does it look like? I know that, there's the three separate types, and I'm sure they all have different kind of practice schedules or qualifications of being involved. So for marching band, what does that kind of look like when you're in season practice wise? What does your week look like?
Yeah. All right. So, in around late August, before school starts, there's band camp. It's actually very fun. And you come in earlier. It's a pre-fall program type of thing. You come in, it's a week before, and you learn all the basics to marching. And then we introduce the songs. And then we compile the entire show. And then we have a little preview show where all the parents come and we get to perform our marching band show for them. And then once school starts, Mondays and Thursdays, we have rehearsals from 7:30 to 10 at night. And during marching band season, that is on the field. Weather's really nice, so it's very cool, all nice. And then typically it's Saturday, the football games happen, and you're there for the entire time. And then for pep band season, it gets a little hectic during March and February, when all the championship stuff happens.
Yes.
But same type of schedule, Mondays and Thursdays, 7:30 to 10, and those rehearsals are indoors.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have games on the weekends and then sometimes during the weeknights.
Okay. And I feel like pep band might be a little bit more, not chaotic, but you have more going on because you're doing multiple sports at once.
Yeah, you're doing, so, you could have like maybe a basketball game on Sunday for women's, and then maybe like men's basketball, you have one on like Wednesday, and then an ice hockey game Friday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for like, maybe this is more for football. I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be for both pep band as well. Do you guys travel with the team, or is it more just like a home field type of thing?
Yeah. So I love traveling with the band. It's the best part of band, honestly. But we travel with the teams if they get to the championships or like any like higher level. We typically play at the home games, but then, if they do well, then we get to travel with them. Like for, March Madness and everything, the Sacred Heart women's basketball team, we got into the NCAA. We qualified, beat the Northeastern Conference. And so then the band got to travel with the women's basketball team and the cheer and the dance to Stanford, California, the week after our spring break.
That was awesome. I saw that, and I saw you guys were like also on the plane. I was like, yes, they're taking the band with them and the cheerleaders. Yeah, that must have been really exciting. That's kind of like not like a once in a lifetime opportunity, because I'm sure like more of our teams will start to advance as we continue, but kind of like in your 4 years, like how many times do you really get that opportunity?
It was the only time for me. And I remember being in the stands, like, during the games. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, like this is honestly, it sounds like so nerdy, but I was like, this is peak for pep band stuff. I was like, this is insane. And I'm never going to get another experience like this in my college career.
Yeah. I mean, well, you guys bring the energy to the games. Like, I swear. Also for hockey, like, I feel like you guys are always on the ball. Like every time play stops, they're just like, all right, next song. Go. This is like a random question, but is there like a preferred like song that you guys like to play?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's definitely some fan favorites, but also a lot of favorites in the band. I know I'm a saxophone for pep band and marching. And so our favorite is Shipping Up to Boston by the Dropkick Murphys.
Classic.
Because then we also get to yell during it. So it's very exciting. And yeah, we actually added movements to the songs.
Oh, yes. Well, you guys also dance during the halftime.
Yes.
There's like a section.
Yes. Yeah. So marching band, we always have like a dance number because, it's funny because we're in band and we're not on a dance team. But, our director's always like, yeah, you guys might not be able to dance now, but by the end of band camp, you're going to know an entire routine. So that's always fun. And then also this past year, our director wanted us to add some, just like horn flashes to the pep band games. And I think that's really upped our game, to be honest. But it's very exciting. I love it.
Yeah, you get to learn some new skill sets. Yeah. In addition to playing your instrument.
It was hard learning how to move and play. I was like, yo, like, what is going on?
I have never actually learned how to play an instrument. And like, I kind of wish I had that in my skill set, but like, I don't know how that would have gone. But playing an instrument and then also moving around or even just moving side to side, like I would not know what I'm doing. Like I would get so confused. The last few weeks, I would like to learn an instrument from scratch, put me in, throw me wherever. That would be scary a little bit, but for the people that know what they're doing, that is a great option. So outside of marching and pep band, concert band.
Yes.
How many, so I know you said you do performances within the academic year, and that's twice an academic year, once a semester?
Yes.
Okay. So throughout the week, is there a set time during the week that you'll come together and practice for the performance? Do you guys do any other, I know for dance, sometimes they'll do like little numbers during practice that aren't in their performance. I don't know how that would work with music, but you never know. So what does that kind of look like during the week?
So it's the same type of schedule. Based on what month or season we're in, we switch to the ensemble that it corresponds to, if that makes any sense. Okay. So Mondays and Thursdays, 7:30 to 10, concert band rehearsals. So, from August to November, I would say, that's when we do marching band rehearsals, Mondays and Thursdays. Okay. And then once pep band, starts up like basketball, hockey, then we sort of switch on and off between marching and pep band for the rehearsals at night. And then actually yesterday, March 27th, was our first concert band rehearsal of this semester. So it was very exciting. But honestly, depending on the demands of whatever sport or whatever ensembles needed, that's what we rehearse. Okay. If that makes any sense.
I think so. I think I'm catching a drift there. So does concert band since you just said you started yesterday, it's not like a full semester thing. It's just more you start when you get closer or more like consistent.
Yeah. Because of like how demanding the pep band can be, you know, it's hard to have all these rehearsals and all the games and, you know, keep up all the academics. So, sort of when the demands are low, then we're like, okay, like we're going to start concert band, you know, because our concert's at the end of April.
Right.
So we're like, we have, you know, a month to rehearse all these pieces.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes absolutely sense because, you know, especially with, I'm sure you guys are involved in other things too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's band academics, other clubs, like running around.
Yeah.
But it sounds very rewarding.
It is very rewarding. Yeah.
That's very fun. And would you say like a lot of the people that do marching band, do pep band, and also do concert band, like how is the community when it comes to participating in the other bands?
So I would say that most everyone does all three of those like core ensembles, marching, pep, and concert. I do all those ensembles. Yeah. But you can do... that's a good question. It's encouraged to do all three ensembles because, you know, you're in the vibe, you're in the family of the band. But you can also choose to do maybe only do marching and concert, or you can do like pep and concert, or, you know, marching and pep and not concert. But it's all up to you.
So the opportunity is really just there if you want to get involved.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So you can really like dabble in whatever you want band wise, or you could do all three.
Exactly.
Like
you do all three. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Would you say that band and orchestra are, I mean, I don't really know much about orchestra to begin with. Is that kind of like a separate, like orchestra only does really their concert at the end? Like do you have any experience or know anybody that does orchestra? Yes,
I did orchestra a few semesters. I'm not doing it this semester just because I'm taking a lot of credits. But yeah, it's the same type of vibe. Concert band, there's woodwinds, you know, and brass. Whereas orchestra is mostly strings. So you got, you know, your cellos, violins, violas, and then there's a select group of woodwinds that are asked from concert band to join the orchestra and play in those concerts.
Okay. That's fun. Mm-hmm. I kind of, when you were talking about all the different types of musical instruments, that just threw me back to like first grade when we learned about all of them.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, flashback. Okay. That's cool. Cause I know a couple people that are in orchestra and I know they have like their practices throughout the week.
Yes. Go ahead. Their rehearsals, if you're a woodwind in orchestra, you only go Wednesdays, 7:30 to 10, I think it's, or 9:30, not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But if you're also a string, then you rehearse Tuesdays and Wednesdays with the orchestra.
Okay. Oh, fun. So it's like a different, depending on what you play.
Yeah.
It differs on. Cool. That's awesome. So really there's a lot of musical things going on during the week.
A lot of stuff.
Love it. So this podcast is geared more towards freshmen. That's like the intended audience. So I know that there are like grants that can be offered for anything like music related. Mm-hmm. So do you have any like information on how that works? Like, are there auditions? Like, how does that kind of impact a freshman looking to participate in like a grant?
Yeah. Okay. So, like you said, there's a performing arts grant, and any freshman or any, you know, student at Sacred Heart who wants to join the performing arts, specifically the band, you know, you get in contact with our director, Keith Johnston, and, you know, you set up an audition, and the audition is very low stakes. Like we're not judging or anything. I needed to hear that because I was so scared for my audition, but my director was really nice. He's like, nah, like, you know, this is just so you can qualify for your grant, and also just so we can see your skill level and skill set. But yeah, that's about it. And I would say that the starting amount for the grant is around $4,000.
Okay.
If you do all three core band ensembles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they kind of go like hand in hand with auditioning. Like, do you have to do it in person or?
So for me, I I think you have the option. I'm not sure, but when I was auditioning, I had the option to either go in person or send in a video.
Okay.
And you're given the music beforehand. You can practice it as much as you want. And then I just recorded a video, and then I emailed it to my director, and he was like, "All right, you're in the band."
Very cool.
Yeah.
Welcome to the band.
Yeah.
Welcome to the crew. I love that. Oh, fun. And so kind of gearing a little bit, you said like people come for band camp in the beginning, and it's more of like a pre-fall program. Would you say most people that like try out for some part of band will come even if they're not doing marching band, or is it more just like marching band related?
It's only marching band. So if you're in the marching band, you come in for band camp, but if you're not technically allowed to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you get to try it a little bit later on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
You get a little more sleep in your own bed.
Exactly.
You get to prepare a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But very cool. There's information on, when I was looking at band on the website talking about like an international performance tour.
Yes.
And I know the two of us with our 4 years here, we've the world was giving us a little bit of a run through here with COVID. But do you know anything about the international performance tour?
Yeah. So the band, we take trips during the winter intersessions. And so it's basically like every 2 years, we can take we have the opportunity to take an international trip. So like, Ireland, we've been there. I think we've been to like Prague, honestly, and Italy, all that. And then when we're not doing an international trip, we have the opportunity to go to Disney in Florida. So it's very exciting. But I know you like Disney. Wait, I remember that. Sorry.
Big Disney fan. Yeah. Little tidbit for the people out there. I love Disney.
But our freshman year, 2019, before COVID hit, obviously, the band was able to travel to Ireland for their international tour.
Okay.
Yeah. In January 2020, so right before it all hit.
Right before the world decided to take a little break.
Yeah.
In other terms.
But it was really great. It was a 2-week tour. We all flew out together, and we went to Dingle for a few days, Ireland. 10 out of 10. Love the place. And then we went to Galway, performed there. And then we went to Dublin, and we also performed there. And it was great. I would say out of all the performances, each performance was amazing, but the Dublin performance was my personal favorite because we had the opportunity to perform with the Dublin concert band. And so it was really cool. We got to hear them perform their own piece. It was a James Bond medley.
Oh, wow.
And not to sound like a whole like band geek, but it was honestly the best piece of music I've ever heard live ever. And I remember sitting there being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to remember this forever. And I have still. So yeah. And then we got to perform in like a huge like mega band.
Okay.
And we got to read a piece together and, learn the music. And I thought it was a really interesting experience.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And I know, like, do you think that they'll bring that back? Has there been any since then? Or?
Yes. So not since then. This past year, we were able to travel, but we went to Disney instead of an international, which was still amazing. A lot of fun. But the talk on the street is that I think we'll be able to go back to Ireland next year.
Oh, so, yay. Sacred Heart and Ireland are like this.
I know. Yeah. We love Ireland.
We do love Ireland. We love Dingle. But that's very cool because then you guys get the opportunity to travel. Like you said, you love traveling with the band and get to bring your musical talents outside of the university.
You get to meet
really cool.
Yeah. You get to meet other musicians too, see where they're at. It's really cool opportunity.
That's awesome. Well, that was a lot of information, Emma.
I know.
Thank you for that. Love it.
A lot.
Is there anything that, you know about the musical program here that we didn't cover that you think is important to cover? Or do you think we hit pretty much all the introductory bases?
I'm trying to think. I would say, honestly, I would say just, I think we covered mostly everything. But I would just say, if people are thinking about joining it, they should definitely join. That's honestly the biggest tidbit I could give.
Of course. And you guys know how much I love the Sacred Heart website. So there is a lot to learn about this program. So if there's anything that we talked about that you want a little bit more information on, definitely hop over there. But as we continue, I kind of want to hear a little bit more about your personal experience with band. So I know you had mentioned being in the band right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So how would you kind of describe your journey at Sacred Heart? How did that like start from?
So, I did band, I started in like elementary school, and I switched to instruments over the years. And I knew in high school that I wanted to go to a college that had a band. And so Sacred Heart, the reason why I chose Sacred Heart, part of it was for the band itself. Okay. Because I visited and everyone just seemed so amazing on like the accepted students day. Everyone just seemed like they truly liked the band. And I was like, wow, this seems like a great program. So I joined, and going into band camp freshman year, I was pretty nervous. But, by the end of that week, I had learned how to march, because in high school, we didn't have a marching band because my town is so small. We don't have a football team.
Right.
And so I was able to learn how to march, learn a very cool dance. And I had 150 friends already before school even started. And then, freshman year, did band, all of it. And then sophomore year, I was actually online because of COVID.
Right.
And then junior year, I started to take a pretty more active role in band. And then this past year, I ran for secretary for the band council. And so now I work with the band council for anything related to the band. And it's been really great.
Yeah. That's very cool. And I want to hear more about your experiences. But just because you brought it up, can you explain the band council? Just like what positions, how does that work?
So there's a president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. I think we're trying to expand and have a little more roles for the band members. So everyone, gets a voice, but it's really great. Honestly, we help out at accepted students days. Like this past weekend, we had a table set up and we were, talking to some parents, prospective students. Same type of thing. Sometimes we also go to high school marching band expeditions.
Yes.
Exhibitions. That's it.
One of them.
One of them. And we, have a table set up there. It's really just so we can talk and tell people more about our program. But we're really just there for anything that, the band members want to talk about, or what the directors want us to talk about or help them with.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that there was a council. So I was like, oh, fun. Especially got a role in there.
Yeah.
Look at you. So I know you said, especially with like marching band, like because your school was very small, you didn't have that. How would you compare your experiences with the band here with experiences that maybe you had in high school, or just like before beginning like your collegiate kind of journey with that?
I would say this thing that's stayed the same is just like the fact that, band kids, I just feel like we're pretty friendly. So that friendliness has stayed throughout high school and college, which has been really fun. But it's a little different because in college, if you're in the band, you want to be there. And so I feel like the vibe is a little bit more, I don't know how to say this, like warm, I would say, and just like, opening, and like we're there to play music for the spirit of, Sacred Heart, or just like the school itself. Whereas high school, it was like a class. Yeah. And like, you do it, you're there, like it's like 7:30 in the morning and you're like playing the instrument. But band, in college, you're with all your friends and you're playing the music because you genuinely enjoy making music.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like too here, like I've talked about this with other guests that I've had on here. These involvements that you can get involved with your college, it's not you having to do it because maybe it's a class or maybe like your parents want you to do it. Mm-hmm. You're doing it because you want to do it.
Right.
So the environment already is more genuine.
Yeah.
Maybe like more like, oh, I'm here because I really want to be here. I'm not here because I have to fulfill something. And everyone else that's here wants to be here. So that's why we always tell our newbies when you come in, get involved with the things you want to get involved in, because you're going to find people who share the same values with you and interests, because we all want to be where we want to be. So that's why we're there.
Follow your heart.
True. Yeah. Really great advice. Follow your heart. I'm just kidding. End of episode. We've talked a lot about your cool experiences within band. Do you have like a favorite memory that you can like recall from being when you like somebody asks you about band in college, like what you'll think of first?
I think definitely this past NCAA experience. I think it was amazing being able to be so close to the team. I feel like they're celebrities. I love women's basketball. You guys are awesome.
So true.
But we were really able to get close with the coach and the team. And I think that honestly has been my favorite experience, just knowing how much the teams support us and how much the coaches genuinely like us too. I would say that's something I'm really going to remember, just that love and support. And also the free trip to California was awesome.
The all-inclusive.
Yeah, paid for, everything, awesome hotel. And then I think also the music pieces that we play, you're on stage, especially in concert band, and sometimes the music, I don't know, it gets to you, and you just love how much you love being able to perform, and you love being able to make music with other people who love the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's the best experience.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. So kind of to wrap it up here, I know you gave a little bit of advice a little while ago, but if anybody is looking to get involved, what would you tell them?
I would say do it. Don't hesitate. Do it. I would recommend doing all the ensembles, especially at first, feet, all, jump in, and don't be scared, because we are so excited to meet you guys. And every year, I'm psyched to meet all the new faces. And I'm sure that everyone else in the band shares the same feeling. So
yeah.
Join. Don't be scared. You got it.
The band here is great. I love watching them perform. And if anybody is actually looking to continue or start, maybe,
yeah.
Who knows?
I learned an entire new instrument last year. I learned how to play the alto sax, and it's been great. So do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, you heard it here. You got all that information. Thank you so much, Emma, for your time and for letting us hear about your experiences. So for the rest of this episode, you guys heard about the instrument musical part of our performing arts. So we're going to dive in a little bit with our choir program and hear about more of the vocal opportunities that you have here at Sacred Heart. So stay tuned. Hey, hi guys. We're here with the last portion of our performing arts segment, which is choir. And today I'm joined with Maddie to help me teach you guys about our choir program here and just to give you a little bit of an inside look as to what the choir program looks like, especially for Maddie within her 4 years. So thank you so much for being here, Maddie.
Of course. I'm honored, as I've said 200 times so far. I'm so excited.
I'm honored that you're here. You have no idea. So before we let you explain a little bit about choir, I'll have you introduce yourself really quickly to the people. So you want to give them your name, you're studying, and
I got you, Carissa. Hi, guys. So first of all, I'm Carissa's sorority sister, which is even more exciting. Happy to be back. My name is Maddie Miller. I'm a senior now. Tears overflowing. So sad. I can't even believe we have a month left. Mind-boggling. But I am a sociology major, a psychology minor. I'll actually be here for the graduate occupational therapy program. So very excited about that little endeavor for myself.
Love.
And I'm from Narragansett, Rhode Island. So total beach bum as well.
Love it. We love it. I know. I feel like I didn't know you were doing I knew you were doing another year, but I didn't know exactly where you're studying. So that's incredible.
I'm so excited. I know it's weird. It's kind of been like, not like a secret, but I've been so focused on like my undergraduate degree that now I'm like, so by the way, guys, I'll be here for another 2 years. Like I'll still be around.
By the way, no one's getting rid of me just yet.
Oh yes, never.
Lovely.
I'll forever be around.
Yeah. And within the choir program, so what specific program are you involved in with choir?
Yes. So I'm involved in the concert choir program here at Sacred Heart.
Okay. So that's part of one of the ensembles that they offer?
Yeah, so it's a more traditional style choir, and I feel like the main difference is, so it's all women. We have one male singer within our choir program, but the main differentiation is that we sing like all different pieces of like repertoire and all genres of music in comparison to like more select choirs that dominate more like specific categories of music.
Okay. Yeah. And for everybody that's wondering like the breakdown of like the choir here at school, we have a couple of different things. I have a list here. I was not gifted with the talents of being in choir, so I'm going to leave that to the professionals. But we have two types of ensembles. So Maddie's involved concert choir. We also have For Heart Harmony, which is another ensemble. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Of course. So we have For Heart Harmony. So how I like to think of For Heart is like 4 different parts, meaning that it's a men and women's select chamber choir, but it incorporates like jazz music, more like musical theater tunes, which I think is so cool. I give them so much credit.
Oh, that's fun. And when I was looking at like how they were breaking it down, it said like SATB, and I haven't taken choir in a while, so
You're like, what is that?
that's the different types of like range, right?
Yeah, like soprano, alto, tenor, bass.
Okay.
Yep.
When I was looking, I was like,
Or heart.
something is clicking there, but it's not. I don't know what the words are.
So exciting.
Okay, I like how you describe that. 4 pieces of one whole heart.
Oh yes, all come together into one. Sacred Heart.
Fabulous. And then we also have our own little pitch perfect moment here with 2 a cappella ensembles. We have Blended Hearts and the 𝚕𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘. So one is girls a cappella, one is boys a cappella, right?
Yes, that's correct. So the Blended Hearts is an all women's a cappella, and the 𝚕𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘 is an all men's style a cappella. And the main differentiation between like concert choir and these more select groups are that the more select groups will do like off-campus retreats, off-campus big concerts, in comparison to like concert choir. We just hang out and we do like 2 concerts a year, which they're great, but we just don't do as many things off campus.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know they did off campus.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
actually interesting. So the 𝚕𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚘, their debut was in Dingle, Ireland.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So they're like an international known choir, which is super cool.
Whoa. Imagine being like, yeah, we got started in abroad, not even here.
Could never be me. I do it for the grant, but I do love the program, but the grant is a big incentive as well.
We will definitely get to the grant too, because I feel like a lot of people are definitely going to be interested about that.
Oh, yes.
So can't wait to hear your experiences with that. And then we also have gospel choir and liturgical choir. So do you know, like, what's the difference between gospel and liturgical choir?
Of course. So liturgical choir, that is another one of our more basic choirs. Okay. So for instance, people that like didn't have room in their schedules to do concert choir, a lot of them, or a lot of my friends personally, chose to do liturgical choir. And the main difference is they have to sing at one of the masses. I believe they get a pick. In comparison to gospel choir, they're a little bit more select, but still not one of like our main a cappella groups, or more standard. However, they focus on like worship tunes and just more gospel themed music, but they don't sing at liturgical.
Okay.
Or at the masses.
Okay, yeah. So I see like the differentiation. When I was looking at that, I was like, I wonder what the difference is there.
It's very similar, cool. Right? It's like,
yeah. No, but that's cool. They also get like another opportunity to sing. Like, I feel like, I wonder if like people from like campus ministry, which was an earlier episode, if you want to go watch that,
ooh.
Little plug there. I wonder if they also have a lot of people that get involved with that type of choir.
Absolutely.
The talents intertwine.
They definitely do. Because I feel like that's also like, that was something I was considering, because we have our sorority chapters at 7 p.m., but I've been missing going to mass. So that was something I was considering. I'm like, wait, that'd be really cool to like be able to go to mass and still like sing church themed music, but also to like obviously not miss out on chapter. But it just, a lot of interferences at the school because there's so many involvements.
There's so much going on.
Too much going on.
Yeah, it's like if you could be in multiple if you could be in multiple places at once. Sometimes I think of like, I don't know if you've ever watched like Harry Potter, where she has like the little time turtle thing where she like gets to all of her classes. I'm like, that'd be so helpful to do everything.
We wouldn't sleep, and hey,
we would not sleep. Yeah, so lots of different choirs going on here, lots of different opportunities to get involved when it comes to anything musical. What would you say like the different responsibilities for each kind of choir involvement would be? Like for you, like for practices, I know some have more performances than others. Is there like a set time during the week that you have practice? Like how does that look?
Of course. So it's funny. I actually have practice at 2 today, and then I have it, today's Friday. I have it next Tuesday at 2. So for concert choir, it's pretty standard. 2 days a week. The times have been very flexible throughout the years. But going forward, our practices are Tuesday and Friday from 2 to 3:15.
Okay.
Which is exciting. So just a little like dip in the water, but not like to the point where like you're stressed out. So that's why I always recommend, or the choral program recommends, that if you have like a busy schedule, like I do, it's good to do a choir that's not as big of a commitment.
Yeah. And would you say like more people, like have you seen people get involved in more than one choir? Like people doing like concert choir, maybe like an a cappella group here or there. So they have more like practices throughout the week within their schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like if choir is something that's like your sole focus and something you're extremely passionate about, you are totally able to participate in more than one choir, along with the choral e-board, which I believe they actually just came out with like the new slate, which is really exciting. So Go New Choir 2023-2024 e-board. This goes out to you. And congratulations, Ariana, if you're watching this, because she's a new president. Really cool. But yeah, it really depends on like what you have time for, but you're able to participate in as many choirs as you have time for, essentially. But for me, twice a week is sufficient.
This girl is very, very on top of her schedule and involved in a lot of things.
I try, guys. I try my best. Senioritis though right now, so.
That is true. This is very true. But, you know, I've been to a concert choir. I think I've been to at least a choir, like, I don't know who was there. I think everyone was there because I remember seeing a cappella and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Pitch Perfect.
Yes, it is giving Pitch Perfect. And you know what? It's so great to see it like in your own community.
We're here for it. I know. I was listening to them. They were singing, I don't know, it wasn't the cup song, but it was speaking of Pitch Perfect, but something similar where everyone knew it.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like if only I could remember. It was a song that's in like a famous movie that everyone has seen. And I was watching it. I was like, I have no idea. Like we do this, like, cause all the choirs are separate, but we all come together for like the university concerts while the more select choirs will go to like Boston, they'll go to other states and perform, or they'll do like things throughout the holidays. But for us, it's really just more our standard, like 2 concerts in the fall semester and 2 in the spring.
Yeah. And when, like, if you want to base it off of this like past academic year, when were your concerts?
So our last concert was March 18th. So the day after St. Patrick's Day.
Very, very recent.
And it's funny because they always line up with like another event. So for example, this choir coming up is the day after our last sorority formal. So it'll be fun.
Oh my goodness.
We'll see how that goes.
You got a busy weekend coming up.
Oh yes, but hey, it's in the future. So not right now is problem, but
yeah, future you's problems. Gonna think about it.
Oh yes, I will.
But that's very cool. I didn't know that you guys had 2 performances because I know like band sometimes they do like their one big performance at the end of the year, but you guys kind of have another opportunity to like showcase what you're working on.
Yeah, we have a lot of opportunities. Like that's the thing. I feel like people don't really see like the effort that we put into it, but we do a lot. Like choirs, low key, one of my more like strenuous commitments right now. I won't lie, and I'm enjoying it because it's very low key. I don't hold any leadership positions, so I can really just enjoy it, like lay back and just hang out with friends.
Yeah. And then there's like choir e-boards. So does that have like kind of the similar positions that you'd find on like other e-boards, like president, vice president, like?
Yeah, I believe it's president, vice president, secretary, and then something that we have additional like my committee is the social committee, but we have like choir hours that you have to complete.
Okay.
And I believe that's a part of the grant. So for me, I'm a part of the social committee, which is really exciting. So I'll have to, for instance, if we're having a concert, one of like the hours could potentially be posting a flyer on my Instagram, showcasing choir, advocating for it, as well as like going to any of our like karaoke nights I know was hosted in the past. I think we're also going to have like a painting night in your finals, which will be exciting.
Aww.
So yeah, there's a lot of, it's kind of similar to like sorority purposes. If you're thinking about it that way, there's like a variety of committees, like setup committee and such pertaining to just elements of choir that students can be a part of to really just like make choir more well known to the student population.
Yeah. And it also like, I feel like it enhances their experience too, because you're doing more than like outside of regular practices of getting involved. You get to know the people that you're singing with.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. That's very fun. And I know you've spoken about the grant a little bit. So did you have to like audition for a grant? Like how did that process work for you?
I remember it vividly because my mom talks about it all the time because I was so nervous. It actually was the first time I visited Sacred Heart University.
Okay.
So shout out ambassadors also because I got a really good tour, and my mom actually said to me while like we were on the tour, she's like, I know you're going to do this one day. And it's going to be here. And here I am now.
Yeah.
Dipping my feet in both areas of life. So after the tour, I went over to like the choral, it's like the choral and theater performing arts little meeting. I believe it's like in the main academic building. And I interviewed with Dr. J. He doesn't work here anymore, but he was fantastic. And I was able to sing like any piece that I had in mind. So yes, you do have to audition prior to becoming like a full-time freshman or undergraduate at Sacred Heart. And then once you interview, they send you an email saying congrats, or I don't know. I've never heard of someone not getting it, to be honest. As long as like you show passion, you're enthusiastic, and you're interested, they pretty much open their arms as welcoming as they possibly can be. So I interviewed, I got the email, and then I've been in it ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Do you think people like, I don't know how this works, but like, let's say like you came and you wanted to get involved later, like a cappella, for instance, like do they hold like tryouts? Is that like a thing? Like,
no, I think they do. So for the more select ensembles, like the a cappella groups for Heart, not completely sure about gospel choir. I don't believe so. I think gospel choir, liturgical choir, as well as concert choir is more of like, if it fits in your schedule, pursue these options. Gospel's a little bit more selective because you're, again, singing more like prayer, soulful music, so to speak. But for like the a cappella groups, there are tryouts. They kind of appeal to more like singers that want to enhance like their professionalism and have a more like rigorous background.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. I did
That
do
is
all
cool.
state singing back in the day, but I kind of fell off that bandwagon.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. And before we get into your personal experiences, because I would love to hear about that, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, but for some groups within choir, they get to do like international trips.
Yes.
So what does that kind of look like? Like what information did you gather about that?
Of course. So super sad. But in the past, I remember when I was a freshman, I believe we were planning to go abroad. However, COVID
Yes.
ruined everything, but that's okay.
Yes.
We're back now. And of course, now it's when I'm graduating, tears overflowing again. But yes, I believe they are planning a Dingle, Ireland trip within the next year or the next few years, but that's in the works.
Okay.
So exciting.
Oh, yes. No, you know what you should do? You should just like jump in the back. Be like, even though I'm a graduate student, like I've been here, like I know what I'm doing. Give me that book.
I think I
like,
could. And that's the thing about choir. Like ultimately, there's such an inclusive like program that I feel like they would be okay with that. Considering I'd still be here. So we'll
just
see.
like write the email up. Hi, so I heard that this is happening and disregard the fact that I'm graduating.
Yeah, but I'll be there.
Thoughts?
Pack me in your suitcase, please.
Put me in the suitcase. Don't take that much room.
Always.
Awesome. Well, that was a really good brief overview.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm glad.
I know. I love the choir program. I think that's very cool, and I wish that I could participate in that. I don't know how helpful I would be to any choir, but
Carissa's busy enough herself.
This is true. This is true. But you know what? I do love supporting the performing arts, and I am always in the audience for all of those shows. So
I love it.
you may find me there.
I hope to find you at my last concert.
I will. Give me the date. I'll be there. I'll be like, go Maddie. So let's talk about your personal experiences with choir.
Of course.
So you told me that you auditioned with choir, so you started right off the bat when you were a freshman?
Yes, right off the bat, my freshman year, and I've been involved ever since with the grant as well,
Awesome.
which is exciting.
Yes. And I don't know what, I think you said Allstate. Is that, what was the choir program that you did beforehand? What was that called?
Yeah, so back in the day, I won't lie. I don't actually think I've ever like announced this to anyone. So this is really cool. Little fun fact and secret
Ooh.
about me. But I used to really prioritize singing along with Allstate, or not Allstate basketball, AAU basketball. But those were my main two things I did throughout high school.
Okay.
So Allstate singing, I'm trying to think. I applied when I was like a sophomore, and it was more like my junior and senior year. So it's a very select group, and you audition, you apply, and then you have meetings throughout the week, and you have like a big performance that for us, it was in Providence, which so for me, All-State singing was obviously took place in Rhode Island because that's my residence. Ooh, shout out Rhody.
My hometown, yeah.
That's my hometown. So yeah, we had like a super big concert and performance, which everyone was able to come to for All-State singing in Providence. So I did All-State singing, and even like ever since like high school, I've always just like been eager with it. I've always kind of like stuck my loyalty to choir. It's just always been a place for me where I never took it super seriously besides my All-State experiences, but it was really just a place to hang out and socialize and just get to know people that are similar to me.
Yeah. So how would you I know that there's probably a big difference between what you do in college with singing and then what you did in high school, but how would you kind of compare those two experiences, especially with the experiences you've had with the program at Sacred Heart, like the people you've talked to or been able to have time together with? How would you kind of compare them?
Yeah, so I feel like the main difference for me is concert choir does count as a class, which is great. So I do get credit for doing it, which
That's
of
good,
course
that's
another
good.
incentive along with the grant, which is great. In high school, it was kind of just like an extracurricular that I signed up for, which took place after school or at some parts it took place in the middle of the day.
Okay.
But I feel like, to be honest, they're very similar in regards to commitment level, because besides my All-State experiences, I never really joined the more select choirs, because choir was really just a place where I could relax and not take myself too seriously,
Mhm.
which is definitely something I've continued to incorporate throughout my experiences at Sacred Heart. I just feel like going to choir, it's just kind of a little social session. I'll hang out, I'll sing, and just catch up with people. Just an hour where I can disassociate and just decompress from everything else I have going on.
Yeah, it's just something that you could do, fully go and be I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I was talking in the section before this with Emma Felix for band,
Ooh.
and we were talking about how, especially with these involvements here, in high school, it's probably a class you were taking or something that, you're doing because you're interested in it, or maybe your parents are having you do it. But when you come to college, it's something that you want to do, and you're there because you want to be there. So I feel especially being able to go and knowing, okay, I'm going to have this hour, 2 hours to myself. Like I get to enjoy it. I actually get to like do something that I love and surround myself with some good people.
That's so true. I didn't even think about it like that. And that really goes for any extracurricular, because I know high school was kind of like they kind of forced a lot of involvement on you to figure out what you want. But I agree completely. I feel like college, it's really like your decision. And yeah, I was happy I made the decision. And I think being in this choir is just, again, it's like my escape from everything else. Because obviously in Chio, I held a position, and then honor societies and ambassador. That's a whole mouthful, and I love it to death, but it's not really a place where I can just settle back and relax. It's more of like I'm putting all of my effort into my other extracurricular activities. So for choir, I know I can show up, do the best that I can, put a smile on my face, have a good time, go to the concerts, but it's very minimal commitment, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I love that. And kind of like while we were talking about that with like the grants and everything and like how appealing it could be to students, when you were looking at other colleges to get like to maybe go to or like you were applying to, did a lot of them like have like a very robust like choir program, or like how impressed were you with like Sacred Heart's choir program, like when you were learning about it here?
I feel like the one thing I even say on my tours in regards to Sacred Heart, I feel like we just have everything to an extreme. I always describe 𝚑𝚑, I don't know why that made me laugh, 𝚑𝚑, Sacred Heart University, as a small school in like a big school setting, because we have the D1 sports. You know, we have over 60 clubs, extracurricular involvement. We have the Greek life attribute, but we also have choir, but we have multiple choirs.
Yeah.
And I feel like not only do we have like our more traditional choirs that I feel like a lot of colleges, you know, will have, and they won't like showcase it to the extremity that we do. I think our a cappella groups are extremely unique. And I think we're only aiming to do more with the choral program. And that was something I definitely was interested in. And I think Sacred Heart also really wanted to know our experiences, because I remember when I did become an admitted student, they sent out a form to me that was like, hey, like, did you ever participate in the theater arts or your choral programs throughout high school? And I indicated yes. And the minute I did that, they flooded me with so much great information about all the different choirs that they offered, which no other college did that, which was really just placed emphasis on 𝚑's spirit and how much they prioritize involvement, which I love.
Yeah, it's like they really want us to have like our own personalized experience, but to the max. I think that's such a great description of like, we are such like a tiny school. We're definitely not as tiny as, in my opinion, we're not as small as we were when we first got here.
Not anymore. Now we're coming next to UConn.
No, literally, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many people here. I love it, but I'm like, parking people. Anyways, that's a whole different
podcast.
That's a whole different. No, literally. But being able to see like, even though we are a smaller school, there's so many different opportunities to people like, especially just like in one segment like choir, to be able to branch off into different areas and like get specific to like what you like.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, there's so much to be involved in. And I think another thing that's also equally as important, you don't have to just get involved your freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
One of my best friends, shout out Ash Cermak, she actually was recruited her sophomore year. So when I was a junior, Dr. J, when he worked here, he literally came up to Ashley and I were eating lunch, and he was like, I love your enthusiasm. You should join the choral program. I feel like your energy could be utilized, could be needed, which is so cool. And I think that really also like epitomizes that. Yes, like, of course, if you're joining choir, you got to sing is, you know, the major.
It is a requirement.
It is the critical requirement, right? But I feel like it's more of just establishing like a positive environment, which I really value about the program.
That's awesome. Go choir.
Yeah, so many shout outs in this. So I hope you guys know.
No, flooded with shout outs. There's probably a handful that you could choose from, but do you have like a favorite specific memory from your 4 years of choir that you would care to share? I
do. So I wasn't there this past fall, but every fall the choral program hosts like their annual choral retreat.
Okay.
And when I was a freshman, again, like any freshman going through the motions of like homesickness, I really like stretched my wings out to choir and kind of like embraced the friendships that I made more than any other extracurricular, because as a freshman, as Carissa knows, I joined Chi Omega as a sophomore. So I had like a year without Greek life, and I was really just figuring out what I wanted to do. But Chi was my constant through kind of like that difficult phase in my life. So when I was on the retreat, I just remember like getting lunch with everyone and like meeting different people. We had a little karaoke attribute. We took photos. It was great. And again, something I didn't experience before. We've never done that in high school. There was never that bonding element that I so desperately always wanted there to be. So definitely the choral retreat. that was great.
Oh, fun. I didn't know there was a retreat for choir. I feel like I should have known that.
Every year. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so cool. And yeah, they do a great job of hosting it and planning it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Well, there you go. If anyone's a freshman looking, there's your plus. You get a retreat right when you get here.
Oh, yep. A lot of friends, some camaraderie. It's a good time.
Oh, yay. And kind of to wrap everything up, thank you so much for all of your insights.
Don't even, really please. I have all online classes and I'm so happy I could get out of my house today. So thank you, Carissa.
You know what? I'm so glad that this gave you an opportunity to come and have some social time with me. I really appreciate it.
I missed you.
I missed you too. Okay, we're going to get sidetracked if we keep doing this. Do you have any, major advice for any students that are looking to get involved in choir? Maybe it's a freshman coming to Sacred Heart, or if somebody finds this podcast that already goes here, like what would you tell them?
I feel like my main thing would be utilize it as much as you want to, just in regards to any extracurricular. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So, right? Literally snaps.
Snaps. I've said that so many times on this podcast. So you guys know it's not just me saying
this. Yes, it's also me. And I feel like, for choir, like for me, for instance, for example, I go into choir very mellow. It's like, I don't take it super seriously. I do the bare minimum requirements, but I use it as a place for me to decompress and escape my other stressors, extracurricular or academic wise. And if that is something that you're interested in, I feel like just be self-aware in regards to like picking which choral like specific group is for you, makes sense for you. But if you're someone that, really has prioritized singing in the past and you're a very passionate artist, definitely select our more like strict, more selective choirs or a cappella groups. But I feel like just having the overall self-awareness of like what you want to put into it, and then therefore like picking which choir best applies to like what you want to get out of the overall experience.
Yeah, totally agree. And like everything, like depending on how much you want to put into it, there's definitely different variables and like different opportunities to get involved.
Yeah, so always so many.
Big or
too many.
Small, you can get involved as much as you want. And I'm sure there's plenty of leadership roles available if this is what you want your main involvement to be.
Yes, and that's the case for anything. Just like put in what you want out of it. So yeah.
So true. All right. Well, Maddie, this was absolutely so much fun. And I loved your input and I loved this interview. So thank you so much for helping me today.
Of course, Carissa. Anytime. Anything for a sister.
Oh, yes. We love it. All right, guys. So big information on the performing arts episodes. 2 episodes full. It's the end of our 2nd episode.
It's crazy.
And I hope that you guys learned a lot. And there are so many social platforms that you can follow with these. And if you're not already following the Instagram for this podcast at Dear Future Pioneers on Instagram, we're going to be tagging each organization's kind of involvement. So if you wanted to get more of like a personalized look as well into the program, you can go check those out. But for now, I'm going to leave you guys with just this information from our 4 lovely seniors over the past 2 episodes. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. And I will see you next week for another great fun-filled episode.